Mayor President Petrov Rebirth.
President Petrov.
Mayor Ridel.
Czemu ja objazdem to udowodnię?
Ja prostu kości posмотреть, как сложен комплекс. Солдаты выглядят дисциплинированными и бдительными. Я верю, что вы можете сказать то же самое о ваших людях и помечная защита.
Да, господин президент, я могу. Я признаю, что одежда и манеры технали иногда немного эксцентричны. И копит изобретательность замечательны. Оружие, которое они выкрывают для нас, доказывает это без сомнения.
И помечная защита практически неуязвим. Fearsome знание сотрудников и кроме рейдеров и детекторов движения гарантирует, что никто не сможет приблизиться нашим начинаниям ни воздуха, ни земли. Инженеры также поездали тщательно замаскированные мини-поля. Эти барьеры направляют объект атакующих в зоны превышения, прикрытые противотанковым пламенем и маневренным огнем из стрижки бункеров. Что с воздуха?
Ракета Су-57 перехватчиков поблизости и моя личная эскадрилья Су-47. Мои люди готовы служить.
Превосходная работа.
Мы являемся пионером самого смертоносного оружия современной атомной войны. Кибервойны. Мы будем использовать этот грозный инструмент, чтобы добиться превосходства в многолетней борьбе России с Западом. Сочетание преодоления силы атак на нашего непозволившую Америку и ее бывших европейских союзников.
У вас есть список целей и график?
Конечно, сэр. Операция крупнейшая должна начаться в ближайшие недели. Выслушая полномасштабных атак на энергосистему Европы в Перун их нового альянса. Если позволите, они определенно снова будут наменять наемников.
Тарнес? Я знаю.
Lotus.
Как проживаешь? Белый мой конец закал справедливым?
Да, сэр. Храм, который вы построили на вершине, служит мне нехорошо, как и мой личный план.
Я знал, что они будут. Убедитесь, что полковник обещался за оборону не спускает голову в сторону. Это единственная крепость, которую я могу вам предоставить.
Да, сэр.
There will one day spring from the brain of science a machine or force so fearful in its potentialities, so absolutely terrifying that even man, the fighter, who will dare torture and death in order to inflict torture and death, will be appalled and so abandon war forever. Challenges never stop evolving, but neither do we. Hawk 1 to 2. I'm in position and standing by.
Battlefield analysis complete. New contacts acquired.
Looks like 4 fighting positions occupied by enemy infantry, deployed across our line of approach. About 200 meters out. They're dug in really well, completely covered by anti-thermal IR camera suits or netting. But I'm getting multiple heartbeats through my audio pickups and seeing several thermal traces of respiratory CO2. I could light their weapons up with my radar, but that will give us away.
Indeed, one. I suggest you refine your scans a bit. I think you're seeing the worm, not the hook.
Okay. Readjusting. Hang on a second. That tree over there, it just doesn't look right. Well, I'll be damned. They're decoys. Dummies wired up to simulate cardiac and respiratory systems. Clever.
They are getting clever out there, just not clever enough to beat the software tweaks my guys and I built into these.
Gotcha. I have visual.
What's the plan, one? Flank the flankers? If you engage stealth, you could...
Negative.
Come on, one. You could sneak right on them and shoot them. It'll be a great test of the system. Just take it nice and easy.
Okay, Hawk 1 is weapons live, standing by.
What the heck are you playing at? You can't lay down effective fire from here without chopping down half this forest first.
You know what your trouble is, Charlie?
I'm afraid to ask, but go
Despite
ahead.
all these years you spent under our command, you still think like a ground pounder, as well as a Huey. As a Star Raven, I know you should fight using all 3 dimensions wherever you can.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Attack! So what about it, Captain Schofield? Have you and your merry gang of backwoods bandits had enough for tonight? Or shall we make it the best 2 out of 3?
Well, I'll take that as a yes. Anyway, training mission complete. Let's return to base.
Following the isolationist attitude of the current US president and his ridiculing of NATO, Poland had become increasingly desperate. So when Russian forces attacked from Kaliningrad and intimidated the US into abstaining, NATO had effectively shattered. The American efforts to derail our operations in an unstated collaboration with Russia were the final nail in the coffin. President Vilk, expecting such a calamity for some time now, had worked in secret with various other Eastern European nations to form a new alliance. When NATO imploded, their idea would bear true form. From that moment, the Intermarium Allied Forces rose to power. An intergovernmental task force formed from the 3 Seas Initiative. Its member states will be comprised of Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Ukraine, Finland, and even Moldova. While not yet an official member, the Czech Republic was a major supporter, as was Greece, and of all places, Ireland. The other primary supporters were the International Alliance of Regions' peacekeeping forces, Pioneer Security, based in Romania, and of course, Taranis Aviation. We now had a powerful force to combat the Russian Federation and their allies, should they take up arms again. The Americans still believe that my squadron is dead, and is correct for most of them. It was their president who ordered those stealth fighters to shoot us all down, under threat from the Russian president. The only people who were still flying were me and my co-pilot. The co-pilots of Winterhawk were transitioning to Wyvern Squadron. Meanwhile, here we are in the scrapyard, our little base in the middle of nowhere. The locals believe the old Romanian airbase's absentee foreign owners were content to let it rot. That was exactly what Tyrannus wanted them to believe. The Tyrannus and Winterhawk personnel stationed here called it the scrapyard, reflecting its decaying, disused external appearance. But behind the peeling paint, rust, and piled up rubbish was a fully equipped operating base jam-packed with sophisticated aircraft, drones, combat vehicles, weapons, communications gear, and sensors.
Morning, Charlie. Enjoying garage work?
Yeah, sure.
You have taken good care of your ride. You're getting better. I appreciate it. We're going to be using these more often.
Yeah, be careful with them. I'm getting...
I can see that. First, our base in India blew up last year. Then the team defending me in Queensland is wiped out, and our F-111 fleet is struck bad. We do need to correct some faults. Don't worry, Charlie. With you working your magic, they'll be good enough. I personally am a bit concerned with the state of Aisling right now. She's been in that suit for too long, in my mind. She hasn't been social.
Yeah, I understand that. After all, I haven't heard from her in ages. We mustn't lose her to the machine.
3 years riding in a robot full time? Man, I wouldn't have bet that was possible. Or sane.
This is Tyrannus Command to Scrapyard. Come in. We have an emergency message.
Go ahead.
The Chernovoda nuclear power plant is entering a meltdown. The government's called us to help.
Chernovoda? I don't believe it. What do they want us to do, sir?
We shall use the CIDs to go into the plant and repair it from within. You'll be briefed on the way there.
Roger that. We really must get busy. Come on, people. Let's get our hazmats ready. I knew we needed them for something.
Amongst the agmeno ordella unal dintre calculatore le detestare si affeziare. Permistio ebrore la getiria uni detectio de flux de neutroni de zona 11. Dua unal? Da. Umati procedura normala. Daya PL. Da camera to turbine.
Geneva si interpella atolo. Nune opprobrium testofficiot abor.
Share?
Into job Marco. In order to reactor drivers stavia offline. Deci nuva digio alamadet tatorie.
Verify job. Capusa exist e java chu DCC un prima. Jomotati computer by. Action. Among advertisement important the interview in zona de control. Secunda. Provitor se activiesa.
Calling all Pioneer security squadrons. We have a scramble order from Romanian Air Command. The Chernovoda plant has been damaged and Russian aircraft are patrolling the Black Sea. A state of emergency has been declared, and the Air Force is scrambling. Let's go help them out. Scorpius 1, IP reached. That is acquired. Roger that, Scorpius 1. Do not engage until they engage.
For a final approach to Chernovoda. Nothing seems to have exploded yet. ETA, 2 minutes.
Tak, panie prezydencie. I'll do my best.
Very good, Captain. You should know this appeal for help comes from the very highest levels of the Romanian government. The President himself assures me that they have no other hope of averting disaster. Unless someone can get inside Chernovoda and manually activate whatever shutdown and emergency cooling systems survive, His experts believe the reactor containment building will rupture.
Spewing of radiation across Romania and a hell of a lot of Central Europe. With respect, sir, the situation is pretty clear.
All normal and fucked up, yes?
As per usual. We're at the reactor site. I've got to go, Mr. President.
Understood. Good luck.
Alright, team, move
This
out.
is as close as I can land. Don't come back with 2 heads now.
Good morning, Hawk One. My name is Vasily Amescu, the emergency manager at Chernobyl, and I will be your guide.
You seeing what I'm seeing, Vasily?
Affirmative. Lizus Christos. The damn thing really is melting down.
Protective shielding.
We are losing
initiated.
whole fuel
No
assemblies.
kidding.
Warning.
What do I need to do
Rapid temperature
first?
increase.
The secondary
Pressure
cooling
now
system.
at
We
200
need to buy time
kilopascals.
by dumping as much as we can
Radiation
into
cap
the reactor as
5
fast as
minutes to
possible.
protective shielding.
I thought your
failure.
pumps were offline.
They are, but there should still be lots of water in the reserve storage tank at the top. Gravity should get it into the reactor.
I see the dousing tank. Shouldn't that be tamping down some of the pressure buildup before the building blows apart, I mean?
Ordinarily, yes. But with the internal atmospheric pressures your machine is reporting, the dousing should already be in action. It must be offline as well.
Along with everything else in this joint.
Cooling the reactor is your top priority. I'm transmitting the list of valves you need to open, and you need to shut off those quickly.
Copy that. Screw taking the stairs. What the hell is this, Vasily?
That should not be possible.
Possible or not, it's damn well
Temperature
happening.
now 85
What's the procedure
degrees
here?
centigrade. Pressure at
Okay.
225 kilopascals. Radiation
If you
rising.
unscrew the
Hydraulic
access plate
system
on the
function
left side of the
degrading at
actuator
80%.
motor,
Sensor
you
function
should be
partially
able to
impaired.
uncouple
Time to
the...
suit
No
breach.
way. I don't have
3
time for
minutes,
anything
40
complicated.
seconds.
Or you could just do that. Those are the pressure relief ducts. Temperatures inside the core must be so high that our cooling is flashing into steam contact. If the discs sealing those ducts had not ruptured, the calandria might itself have fractured.
That's just swell. What's next?
You must manually release the STS-1 rods. With so many fuel bundles damaged, some of the rods might not be able to fully deploy. Even so, any rods that reach the core should greatly slow the fission reaction. The clutches between each
Hydraulic
shot
system
have been
function at
de-energized, locking them in
60%.
position.
Time to suit
But
failure,
this should only
1
happen
minute.
after a reactor trip, not before. This is...
Impossible. Yeah, I get it. Look, I'm starting to sense a really bad pattern here. How about you?
Yes.
Moving now. Got it.
Radiation levels are decreasing, but the containment building temperature is still rising.
Hydraulic
Okay, I'm
system
heading for the
function
airlock.
at 60%. Time to suit failure, 1 minute.
Come on, come on.
Nice.
Never doing anything that crazy again.
How much do you bet on that? You're still one of the Star Ravens, remember? And I've got my eye on a brand new sports car that's way above my current pay grade.
Oh well, I'd call that mission accomplished.
That's a job well done. Let's head back home. And hey, it would have been a better fallout than 76.
Poland. This was where the Winterhawk Squadron lay in wait for the next inevitable mission in battlefield Russia. After the events at Chernobyl, General Langham has called us together. It looks like a new phase of the war is about to start. That's the Polish president's chopper. The heat must really be turning up for him to pay a visit. Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Commander Langham. Mr. Verne, a pleasure to meet you.
Now, before we move on to a detailed discussion of the current crisis, I think it's best to lay out the bigger picture. While the American president remains unalterably opposed to our new alliance, There have been signs that other...
With all due respect, sir, maybe you should save the canned spiel for the politicians back in Warsaw and just tell us flat out how badly we're screwed.
Fine, I'll be brief. We all know that Uncle Sam hates our guts.
Especially yours.
Yes, especially when I was President of Ireland. But now he and the leaders of the UK and parts of Australia think I'm out here raising hell with the Russians for two reasons. First, so I can line my own pockets with profits from tyrannous military contracts, and second, to screw them politically by causing trouble overseas while he wants to hold on to his own domestic agenda.
Which says much more about their own sordid inclinations than it does about yours.
Sure, but in this case what matters are his actions, not his motivations. Besides, as far as they're concerned, our intermarium is, quote, a bunch of reckless third-rate countries with delusions of grandeur who abandon common sense to chase their own selfish agenda.
Right. Remind me not to send something for his birthday. On the Australian front, the government is still bucking the opposition's demands for economic and trade sanctions for us. Some believe the US president was right to let NATO die rather than get dragged into a war with Russia. Most believe that it was an act of diplomatic cowardice and strategic idiocy.
Bad news is the US is tightening executive orders to restrict trade with Poland and other allies. For all practical purposes, it's now impossible for us to buy US, British, or Australian military-grade equipment or technology, especially from tyrannous-affiliated companies like Skymasters, at least directly and legally.
What about other markets?
Sure, the IAR is still committed to assistance, as are the arms industries of Paris, Rome, and London.
As damn brilliant as their top-of-the-line equipment is, it just won't be up to par with what we got from Skymasters.
Indeed, we can use these friendly states to smuggle conduits, but at a higher price.
Well, what about the other allies? Can any of them chip in more?
I doubt it. Hungary, the Baltics, and the rest are pretty strapped for cash right now. As it is, the rearmament programs they've agreed to are already straining their economies.
I spoke to Romania's president this morning. He informed me with deep regret that his country will struggle to afford the current defense obligations. The Chernobyl plant is currently repairing. Unit 2 is indeed salvageable, but only just. It'll still take a lot of money and work to repair it. If you hadn't intervened when you did, Romania would have lost its nuclear power and would have to somehow get 20% of its electricity from elsewhere. So, their economy will take a great hit, and Russia would step in and offer nice gas and oil. Yes, so long as they quit this alliance. The Romanian people are dead set against that, but already Moscow offers a virtual ultimatum. They're threatening to cut off all natural gas exports to Romania, unless the accepts price increases far beyond Bucharest's ability to pay.
That's classic.
Commander?
Vladimir Petrov never misses a chance to kick people when they're down. That accident would have given him the chance he needed to rip Romania from us.
And we just got word from our spy division.
Indeed, former Brava mercenaries. We must go and destroy their leader.
And how do you propose we do that? That guy's a right snake. He has his own motorcade, changing at certain points. An attack like that is too far for us.
Then I will do it myself. I will hunt them down and kill them and anyone who stands in the way.
Whoa there, Ashling, settle down. Commander, please, listen to reason.
Who cares? If we shuffle in our feet for too long, Petrov will launch another attack. He won't rest until Russia conquers Europe and controls Central Asia. These people must be destroyed. Now, before it is too late.
Enough, Commander. We'll discuss this later. Moving on.
How we're going to prove this really was a cyber attack is also a big question mark.
Whether or not we can prove it is beside the point. What's more important is that this cyber strike was perfectly planned and executed. And now we're down one of our new CIDs we needed to bolster our forces. That robot is basically fried. We'll get it back up and running eventually. No offense, lad, but you're hard as hell on expensive gear.
Yeah, Whack, that is a bit of a bad habit, and one that I'm trying really hard to break.
No sweat, lad. Pain in the arse you may be. I'm glad you came through in one piece. CIDs I can replace, but good pilots are a hell of a lot tougher to find.
If we cannot prove that what happened at Chernobyl was a Russian attack, is there any point to announcing that the reactor was deliberately sabotaged?
Maybe. That would only raise questions we can't answer right now. But it's worth a try. It could buy the Romanian government a little breathing space.
But what if this is not just a single act of sabotage? What if Chernobyl was merely the first salvo in a new Russian war against us? A war waged with computers rather than tanks and aircraft.
That, Lieutenant, is the million-dollar question. My guess is that we are not going to have to wait long to find out. What the hell? Ah, shite. Mortar fire! Everyone get down! Protect the president! Wait, where's Ashley going? She must be going after those mortar teams. Hell, for the love of... Grab the gun. Let's make sure she doesn't do anything stupid. Where do you think you're going?
I got visual on the motor guys. They look like Chechens, terrorists.
Привет, ребята. Время умирать.
Like she's moving to... Oh my god.
This is hardcore. All enemy foot mobiles are eliminated. No sign of further hostile activity.
Ashley, what the hell?
Captain Saigus says his best guess is that these men were from the Caucasus. Radicals, maybe. They were all wired with explosive vests, but only one had time to set it off. They have to be doing Moscow's bidding. The Russians have often used some of those factions for their dirty work.
That seems probable, but after their Romanian strike, I would have expected the next Russian move to be something subtler and more potent. What could they hope to achieve with this attack?
I've got 3 dead troopers and a bunch more wounded in a right mess of a base who might see things a little differently. Short or not, that attack still did plenty of damage.
Look, Major, I'm sorry. I hate wasting lives, and claim responsibility for not knowing about this attack sooner. But it's up to the living to move forward from here. We cannot shift all our operations to the scrapyard, even if we are still under the radar there.
But there's also the bigger problem, Ashley. She could have taken them alive, but she just went and butchered them in a blink of an eye. Plus, you saw her before they attacked us. She was already keyed up beyond reason and primed to kill. I do not know the solution yet.
At this rate, she's going to be just as dangerous and unpredictable as the Russians. And she'll be an even worse adversary if push comes to shove. Because she'll be an enemy that we will hesitate to destroy. So, is there any way to get her out of that tin can?
If we pull her out of that suit, it's either life support or death. But I do have an idea. I'll probably tie it in with the coming days. But I'll be sure to keep you updated.
Ah, shite. Looks like another adventure.
Vi uvreniš to zavamenie sledili. Dožen li sprosit to še samoje o vas? Dostatočno spravedlivo. Petrov może być bolее uwreniem, чем вы предполагаете. И можем винить. Некоторые из нас знают о нашей катастрофе в Польше, но массы не знают. Они благодарят Владимир за то, что оставил на Украину.
I've done so many things to shake his platform, but to no avail. My support to the Ukrainian rebels, along with Project 10's, was sure to drag him into a political and military quagmire. But the Russian elites didn't see their mistake to support Petrov, much less come running to us. I didn't see America's betrayal coming. How could I?
Итак, доктор, я вижу и румынских новостей, что мои ребята были приняты на работу. Но это похоже. Я слышу слухи, странные слухи, о пошире сокровищ, строящихся на Востоке. В самом деле, слово собрание, тишина золотая. Лего тебе сказать. Вы получили компенсацию за помощь страну? Да. Тогда будет довольны оплатой. Перестаньте заглядывать в государственные секреты, которые вас нас интересуют.
Patience. The time will come.
Почему ты связался со мной? Мне нужно больше специалистов. Возможно, еще 30 или 40. Это будет сложно. Как удивительно.
How much longer can you give us here? 20 more minutes. I told Moscow Control you wanted to check out some factories. Very good. Keep us posted. Will do. Everything good on your end, Dave? Strong signal from the Red. With these thermals, I'll keep it flying for 6 more minutes. Isn't this Schwaber Tech Consulting Company a miracle? We get to fund our operations here and sit nice and comfy in Moscow. Anyway, this guy's a real wanderer. He's been a terrorist for Stroker, a hero for the World Alliance military, and a bad guy for the Brabant Foundation. He hangs out with his old buddies, so his cover's top-notch. He's the stepping stone on the road to this new cyberwar complex. He's saying he's not so fond of farewells now. The other guys are big enough fish to make our friend wobble in his words. Smile, comrade Ridel. You're on candid microphone.
Master, the warriors have returned, as you said they would. Even now my people are trying to destabilize them from within. So I may drain them of their technological powers. Powers I will use to shatter the wretched seal that keeps us apart. And then there will be no need for a worthless ruler like Petrov, who would wash his hands of conflict rather than dirty them with it. Together, we will create a new world where the inhabitants are taught to obey your will. Sir, to operacja pod napadnieniem Nepowicza.
Мне ясно, что такое операция спецназа провалилась так легко.
Это был один из тех роботов. Это был их командир.